favorite things about hanging out with educators all day long is that everybody has the coolest secret talents. My secret talent is that I am the perfect paper editor. That's because I've been editing third grade grammar work for 7 years now. Send me all your things, I would be happy to proofread for you. Now, 7 years in the classroom, a little bit pre-COVID, a little bit post-COVID, all that really gives me is a long list of things that did not work in my third grade classroom. Lucky for you, you're now reaping the benefits. Today I'm sharing the top 3 things I did that completely changed how I teach grammar in my classroom. These are things that not only changed what I do, but it saved my students. They are super grateful, and now they remind me every day to not forget our grammar lesson. Grammar teaching tip number 1 is to make it a priority in your classroom. I know, it's easy for me to tell you that, but there's a story that goes along with it. Trust me. For the longest time, grammar for me was really an afterthought. I know the standards were there, but all of my energy in writing was going towards teaching the modes of writing. Think about it, we spend weeks on personal narrative and then another chunk of weeks on an informational text, and then we dig into opinion writing. By the time we've taught those 3 to what I felt was the full extent of the standards, I only had a handful of weeks left to give to all of the other writing standards, and we know there's plenty of them. The first thing I did to really change my approach to grammar in my classroom is to make grammar a priority. That means it became something I teach all year long. Tip number 2 is going to help you with that all year long grammar approach. I took grammar out of my writing block and found a separate time for my grammar instruction during my teaching day. Again, easier said than done, but here's what worked really well for me. Everyone's writing block is a different length of time. Some of you don't even have writing blocks at all. You just have a literacy block or only a reading block where you're expected to instruct on writing during that time. For me, making that priority shift to include grammar every single day was huge. And then I turned to my schedule. This year, for example, my writing block was at the very end of my day. Students came back to my classroom from related arts, and then we were expected to jump right into writing instruction. This was challenging because everybody was thirsty and everyone needed a bathroom break. So I transformed the first 15 minutes of that time back in the classroom to my grammar block. I took part of my day that was going to be wasted with transitions and saved it by turning it into when I teach grammar. Students come in from related arts and we jump right into our grammar work. That's right, it's only 10 to 15 minutes a day. At the beginning of the year, it doesn't start that short. It definitely takes longer just because we're getting used to our routines. But what students know what to expect on each day of my grammar instruction, that time absolutely flies by. After grammar, then they get their restroom break, and then we come back together to finish our day with writing. Making this change was huge because it gave me a specified time to focus on small pieces of grammar every single day. The third thing I did to save my grammar instruction was find ways to make it fun. Grammar can be so dense and grammar can be so boring, which is why I'm the one who ends up editing people's papers for them at work. It can be so painful to teach grammar to your students, which is why I tried my best to find fun and engaging ways to challenge them through grammar. My students love working on their whiteboards and doing call and response activities during my grammar instruction, so that became a huge piece of what I did during that mini lesson every single day. My students also love task cards, so every single week I would do task cards with my students. Now, I only have 15 minutes to do my task cards in. That's okay. They do as many as they can in that amount of time. Finding ways to engage and excite your students are going to save your grammar time. I know I've already said that one of the challenges I initially found with teaching grammar was the amount of grammar you are expected to teach. That's why going from just maybe a unit of grammar or sprinkling lessons throughout the year through intentionally teaching it every single day all year long completely changed my approach to my standards. Now, going from teaching something occasionally to teaching it every day sounds like a huge increase in work, which is why I want to show you my favorite resource to use. Our Not So Wimpy Teacher grammar units are the perfect tool that I used every single day in my 3rd grade classroom to teach grammar. It comes with everything you need: PowerPoints, interactive notebook activities, worksheets, task cards, great assessment tools, everything you need to teach grammar in that small 10 to 15 minute block every day of the year. I hope you can learn from my wisdom and enact some of these changes in your classroom to help save your grammar instruction. Your students will be grateful, and I promise your life is actually going to get a lot easier following these 3 changes that I made in my classroom. If you aren't already, please make sure you are subscribed. We put out new content here on YouTube every single week, and I would love to have you join our community here. Do you have other questions about grammar, other things you want to know? Do you want to check out the resources that I've talked about? Everything is going to be down in the description box, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. Most importantly, happy grammar teaching, and I hope you have a not so wimpy day. Bye!